I am situated at UEI Global Chandigarh, and my specialized and expertise is food and beverage service. So I welcome all of you to a workshop on sparkling wine. As you can see, we have displayed some grapes here, and it signifies the importance of grapes in wine. So I'll take you through the journey of wine, from vine to wine. How it starts from harvesting to the bottle. So yes, of course, it is a service of wine, but before we serve, just we should know about a sparkling wine and why it is sparkling wine. Okay, so basically there are two things. People are confused between sparkling wine and champagne. So first of all, let me clarify this, that both things are same. The only difference is, like we say, that the champagne is a region in France, and sparkling wine made in the Champagne region of France can only be called champagne. Rest all are sparkling wines. So we say all champagnes are sparkling wine, but all sparkling wine are not champagne. And the reason being is because the champagne is made in the Champagne region of France. So it all started in France, a district called Champagne, which is divided into two regions. One is Epernay and another is Reims. It is situated in between the river, on the river side, and both the sides produce champagne. Champagne and sparkling wine, basically sparkling wine is made with three types of grapes. The grapes are, it is a mixture of red and white grapes. First, we start with Chardonnay. Chardonnay is a very classic white grapes, which gives fineness to the wine. Then we have Pinot Noir. As the name suggests, Noir is a French word which means black. Pinot Noir is again a red grapes which gives body to the wine. Then we have a third grape which is Pinot Meunier, which gives aroma and bouquet to the wine. So all these three grapes combined together gives a beautiful sparkling wine, or a champagne for that matter if it's produced in champagne. Again, now there is a method of making a champagne or a sparkling wine. If it is produced in the Champagne region of France, the process we call it as méthode champenoise. And if it is produced outside the Champagne region or in another countries, we call it traditional method of making champagne or sparkling wine. Méthode traditionnelle. So what happens? There is a scientific process here. You can see I have both quality of grapes here. If you see, I will take you a bit closer. This is just an example to show you grapes. I believe you can see a cloudiness on the top of the grapes. If you see, you can see the grapes is not clearly red. So it is a cloudiness on the top. What are those cloudiness, cloud type texture? They are natural yeast. They are natural yeast. Same happens here in the green. You can see white cloudy particles on the top of the grapes. So these are natural yeast. So when we talk about méthode champenoise, it is pressed. Any kind of wine which is produced, the first step is pressing. So what happens basically in the wine making, once the grapes are pressed, the juice comes out. And in French, it is first press, okay, which is cuvee, and the second is tale or tail. Okay, so the sparkling wine is made with the cubic. Okay, then it goes, once it is pressed, then it goes for fermentation. What happens in fermentation is there is natural yeast there, and as you all know, the grapes contain sugar inside. So there is an chemical reaction, and what happens? The sugar present in the grapes fights with the natural yeast, and the result of that is two things. First is the wine, and the second is carbon dioxide. Okay, so normally what happens, the carbon dioxide is produced during the fermentation process itself. In method and Champagne, we do two types of fermentation. There is primary fermentation and there is secondary fermentation. Okay, just to make the wine stable. Okay, once the secondary fermentation is done, it goes for aging, and post aging it goes for riddling or remoulage. Okay, what happens there? The bottle is tilted little bit, rotated downwards, so that the sediments come and accumulate at the neck of the bottle. Post that, we do a disgorging. Disgorging is a process where the neck of the bottle is passed through a solution which attracts all the sediments outside and it removes. Then it goes for aging and bottling. But for a sparkling wine to become a champagne, the 3 months of aging is very important. Wine is a result of blending and aging. The connoisseurs who blends the wine, they are expert in doing this, and they taste it, then they mix it, and then it is. Now, when it is blended, the taste of the wine is obtained. Like if you drink sparkling wine or if you drink champagne, various textures are there, like dry, completely dry, sweet, medium sweet, or sweet, which in French we call as doux, which is DOUX. Or if you go on the other side, it becomes brut, which is very dry. Brut means very dry. So this is how the champagne becomes, and it comes in the bottle, and on the other side it is same process is same in sparkling wine. Okay, so if you see the bottle of sparkling wine, it contains a very huge amount of carbon dioxide. It contains a very huge amount of carbon dioxide. That is why if you see, the bottle has a punt inside. The bottle has the punt inside, means it is hollow from bottom. Many of us are confused because it is given to hold it. No, it is not given to hold it. Yes, you can hold it, but it is not given to hold it. It is to sustain and stabilize the bottle, because pressure is so huge that it can blast. In history, if you go on Google or if you search, many people have lost their life. Many people have got injured while opening a bottle of sparkling wine or champagne. Why? Because of the pressure inside the bottle. If you see the bottle here, you will see a punt here. This is called punt. You see the bottom here? This is called a punt. Okay, P-U-N-T, punt. It is made. The bottles are made in a way because this bottle has to sustain the pressure of the wine. You all will be surprised to know this. that the pressure inside is equivalent to a pressure of your car's tire. Many of you drive and you have a pressure inside that tire. You give pressure, right? You give air. So the same pressure, imagine if that tire burst. The whole area is full of noise. So same process, same pressure is there in the bottle. So I would recommend, though I will take you through the process of how to open the bottle carefully and how to serve it, but for our information also, we must know this, that bottle of sparkling wine or a champagne has a pressure, it contains carbon dioxide, and it contains a pressure which is equivalent to a pressure of the tire of a car. Okay. Now we'll start with the service of sparkling wine. It was just a brief introduction about the sparkling wine, because some of you are confused between sparkling wine and champagne. Some of you, sparkling wine, yes, sparkling wine. First of all, sparkling wine or champagne, these are ceremonious drink. These are ceremonious drink. Okay, people toast, they make toast together, they celebrate their birthdays, their wedding anniversary. So this is a matter of pride and celebration. So on these certain occasions, we often open a bottle of sparkling wine and champagne. Now, like in France, it is a region called Champagne. Similarly, in other countries also they have a sparkling wine. So what they call it? Like for example, if you go to Germany, they don't call sparkling wine. What do they call? They call it sekt. S-E-K-T. S-E-K-T. So if you go to Germany, the sparkling wine is called as sekt. Similarly, if you go to Spain, it is called as cava. That is called C-A-V-A. So Spain, if you go, understand what you are asking. Okay. Similarly, if you go to Italy and Portugal, so Italy and Portugal, they call it same, they call it spumante, though they write it differently. If you go to Portugal, they write it E-S-P-U-M-A-N-T-E. But whereas when you go to Italy, they write it as S-P-U-M-A-N-T-E. Things are same. They call it spumante. They also call it as spumante. But the only difference is spelling. So this is how the world pronounces sparkling wine. I have told you these countries' name because these countries have other language than English. These countries, they have other language, their primary language, their official language is not English. The country which I have spoken just now, like for example Portuguese, like for example Spanish, like for example French, like for example Italian, or for that matter German, they all have their official language as their country language, like German, French, Spanish, Portuguese. And these are the most common language in the world which is spoken. Okay, so I have told you different names of sparkling wine in different countries. The composition remains the same. The grape remains the same. The quantity, the only difference is the production method and sometimes the climate. Sometimes the climate. Okay, now you can see here, if you see this bar counter or a bar top, we have different type of champagne glasses. These glass which you see, they are called as champagne saucer. They are called as champagne saucer. And if you see this, the shape is like a flute. So we may call them as champagne flute or champagne tulip. So champagne basically are served in this flute or tulip. This is basically for cocktail which is made out of champagne, based on champagne, cocktail based on champagne, so they can serve them or they sometimes use for different cocktails, but it is fine. But We cannot serve champagne here because it contains bubble, it contains fizz, and you can see the mouth is broader, so this cannot hold the fizz for longer, and the taste will go away very soon. That is why we don't use this for service. Okay. Now we come to the second part, that is the service of sparkling wine, which is the topic of this workshop. So before we start service, we must note down certain things, what all are required for a service of sparkling wine. The first and foremost thing you require is a ice bucket. You require a ice bucket. Okay, and you require a napkin or a serviette, which in French, if you call napkin in French, which is called serviette. So we must have these things. Now, making an ice bucket is also a skill. It is also a skill. If you don't know to make ice bucket, you put down this champagne in the ice bucket, either with only ice or either with only water. The bottle is not going to get chilled. And for your information, sparkling wine or champagne must be chilled at 8 to 10 degrees Celsius. Please note down, 8 to 10 degrees Celsius. So to obtain that degree Celsius, we must know how to make this ice bucket. If we don't know, we cannot bring down that temperature. And if something which does not have the required temperature will not taste same as it is tasted. Okay. So now if I show you this, it is the ratio is 50-50. If there is a 5% of ice, the equivalent water should be there. So water and ice should be equal. If the ratio differs, the chilling capacity will also differ. You try it at your home. You bring something warm, and if you follow the same process, if you make the ice bucket with 2:2 or 4:4 or 5, means equal amount of ice and equal amount of water. Of course, it should not overflow. That is also we must see. So what we require? We require an ice bucket. Why? Because the temperature. Okay, if the temperature is warmer, why it is served chilled? Because the pressure is very high. It can blast. It can make noise. So we have to store it in the. Then we require a glass. Okay. So if you turn your camera to our table, we have a lady guest sitting here. Okay. So first thing what we do is we have to place the glass on the table. We have to place the glass on the table. Normally we should carry it with the tray. But though it is only one glass and it has a stem, you can also carry it sometimes like this. But you should not touch this part. This part is for the guests. Okay? Now, what I do is, now I'll the first and foremost thing in serving wine is to present the bottle to the guest. It is a baby, right? And it is a symbol of respect. It is a symbol of ceremony. So we must carry it with the respect. Okay? We must carry it very like a baby, carry a baby, right? Because we love them. So similarly, we take this bottle with the help of a napkin and we present it to the guest. Okay? So now there is a level here. the wine level is there. So what we have to do? We have to show this level to the guests. Once she has approved, okay, this is what she has ordered, only we will open, because it is the most costliest drink in the world. Okay, we cannot open it without her approval. Okay, there are various things which are written on the wine label, like the sweetness, like the dryness, like the year of the vintage, the brand name. Okay, so we must show them to the guest. Now, once she has approved, is that okay for you, ma'am? Okay. Now she says it's fine. So what I do, I have a serviette, right? So I put it on my left hand wrist. Okay. Now I stand firmly, and there is a foil here. Normally you can use wine opener also. Okay. You must keep a wine opener, but sometimes it is not required. Okay. Here there is a little bit of opener file. So what you do, you just click here and you take this around. Now what you will do, you will put this in your pocket. Don't throw it here and there. Okay, you are serving in a fine dining restaurant. Now what happens, there is a foil here, you remove it. Okay, and remove it with the respect. Don't tear it like a baby. Now you see, I have taken out, but it still looks like you can put from the top also, right? So keep it nicely. You can use the side plate which is placed for the lady here. Okay. Now what happens? Always remember to put a thumb on the top of this bottle. Always remember, because there are fire sprinklers, there are guests, there are people around you, and the most important thing is your safety. I told you when we started that this bottle contains the pressure equivalent to the tire of your car. Alright? So we have to always put the thumb on the top before we open it. Now you see there is a wire. So what you do, you gently put it down and you screw slowly. Okay, you will feel the pressure here on the thumb. You will feel the pressure here on the thumb, because there is a gas inside, there is CO2 inside, so it will push it up. If it is not chilled properly, it will push it up. If it is chilled properly, it will not give you some pressure. Okay, so what happens, you and be careful with the gas. Never ever go in front of the gas. Always do like this sidewards. Okay. Now you slowly screw it. Okay. Now you don't remove the finger from here. Be careful, don't remove the finger from here, because there is a pressure. Now what you do? You do little bit of twisting of the bottle, and slowly the cork will come inside your. You see a very lovely noise. It's pop. Okay. If now this cork with the rim has to be given to the guest. Okay, you cannot take it away, because there is also a flavor in this cork. Okay, so what I do, I'll put this cork on the side plate again. Okay, and I have a serviette with me. So what I do, I open it a bit. Okay, remember, if you have to cover it with a napkin once you are holding it. Why? Because if you don't cover it with a napkin, what happens? It takes your body temperature. It takes your body temperature. Now we have only one guest, but sometimes you will have 10 guests. So by the time you reach the 10 guests, the temperature is already down. So you should not never ever touch with your bare hands. Okay? Now we serve to a okay, you just twist a bit so that the drop does not fall on the table or on the plate or on the gas. Now, the champagne is never filled till top of any wine for that matter. It is never filled till the top of the glass. There is always why. First reason that it is chilled, and if it remains in the glass for a longer period of time, again it will lose its temperature. Okay. The second part is it will lose its bubble or a fizz because it contains a fizz and bubble inside it. So for many reasons we just don't fill it for the till the neck of the bottle. Okay. Now since I have served, I'll just go back and I will put it back in the ice bucket. I will put this near to her so that it is easier for her to see that bottle is near to her, and sometimes you are busy, so maybe she can help herself also. Because you will not have only one table, you will have multiple tables. So though it should not happen, but again if it happens, she can help herself. Okay, and it should present. Now you see the cork and the cap is here. So I'll ask the guest whether she still needs it or I should take it back. Ideally, we take it back because again it occupies the space, and once the guest has seen and felt the aroma of the cork, there is no use of keeping it. And then this champagne cork, you cannot put it back again. Means you cannot insert it again to the bottom. Okay, so so I'll just take this and I'll remove and I will put it on the side station. Okay. Now the service is done. This is all about the service of sparkling wine. If you have any questions, I am open to take questions. If you have any questions related to making of champagne or making of sparkling wine or its service or its service temperature or whatever it is, you may write down in the comment box and my team will help me out with the questions and I'll be able to answer your questions. Anyone sitting here can also ask. We have students here, so they can also ask. Questions please, I am open for questions. Wine is like a sea. You know, it's a never-ending story. It is a very in-depth thing, and we need to study a lot. So, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer it.
So, one ma'am is asking, is Prosecco is also a sparkling wine?
I beg your pardon?
Is Prosecco also a sparkling?
Prosecco. Okay, great. It is Prosecco. A very nice question. Yes, Prosecco is also a sparkling wine, and it is made in Italy. Prosecco is little bit sweeter than Spumante. Prosecco is also a sparkling wine. They are all produced in Italy. Any other questions, please?
Identification of a good wine. How we identify a good wine? What are the symbols?
Okay, wine or sparkling wine?
Just write wine. So if you can tell us the wine and sparkling wine,
okay,
that would be.
The quality of wine. The first thing what you see on the first of all, we must know how to identify a good wine. To identify a good wine, first thing is country of origin. Okay, there are some very good famous product producing house in France. Similarly in Italy, they are very traditional and old world wines. Simultaneously, there are some very good wines in USA or in Australia. So for that, you need to see the producer or the country or the producer name. Second thing, what you see on the label is the vintage year. The more the older wine is, the more the wine is aged, it is going to be tasting smooth. Okay. Second thing. Third thing, your taste, how you like the taste, because wine is a thing. Wine is a matter of taste. Okay, and as a wine drinker or as a wine connoisseur or a sommelier, I must tell you that each bottle has a different characteristic. So it depends on your taste and what you are eating. But basic two things which you can always trust on is the vintage year and the producer. Yes, I hope I answered your question. Next question, please.
Thank you. Then next question is how much quantity wine drink? He wants to ask you how much quantity can we drink at a time?
Okay, so wine is, I'm not a doctor though, but yes, I'll take your question. Wine is good for heart. Okay, why it is good for heart? Because it contains antioxidants. It contains antioxidant. So I told you in the beginning, I am not a doctor, but still I will advise you to drinking moderate, like a glass of wine is enough for a day.
Thank you, sir. Then next question is how long can an unopened bottle wine last?
Open bottled wine doesn't last more than 24 hours. It go flat. I'm telling you 24 hours is also too much, but not more than 24 hours. It gets flat in 24 hours.
All right, then I think this is the last question. Can we call champagne as a sparkling wine?
Yes, of course. I told you when I started my workshop. I told you that all champagnes are sparkling wines. All champagnes are sparkling wines, but all sparkling wines are not champagne. So it answers your question that yes, sparkling wines are also champagne. Any more questions, please? Think, I will take no problem.
So Jahid is asking process of wine making.
Process of wine making, very nice. Okay, so it means you are interested. First of all, we must know that wine is a fermented grape juice. Okay, and it started from VINE, wine, which is a French term which in English means grapes. Okay, so if you know this, the production is very easy. You press it, you filter it, you filter it, you age it, you bottle it, and your wine is ready. It depends where you are making the wine. It depends what quality of wine you are making. It depends the client you are serving. Okay, so wine making process is very deep, but just to give you a small idea that wine is made with the grape juice. So you pluck the grapes from the farm, you press it, you leave it for fermentation, you do filtration, you do filtration, post filtration. Sometimes there is an malolactic fermentation where malic acid is converted into lactic acid. So it is very deep and very long topic. So I will not go into it. But yes, this is how it is processed and filtered and then bottled and then aged. Every wine is aged. Next question, please.
That's all.
Okay, I hope I was able to answer all of your questions and the session was interesting. You may leave your feedbacks in the at the UEI Global page, wherever you are watching it, or either on YouTube or on Instagram. And we'll be happy to answering your question post this workshop also. We take questions online also. Thank you for joining all of you and have a great day. We see you soon. Thank you.